All right, how's everyone doing? I am Rich CELENZA. Thanks for tuning into the Rich CELENZA Show. WTF are you talking about? So, if you know anything about me or have been listening to my podcast in the past, I've been working for many years on this app called the uaround. And the uaround is basically, it's an app to help you when you're in need of something, basically. Our slogan is, when you're in need of something you need, basically, is what I'm trying to say here. And it really, what the uaround is, and I'm going to actually pull up my website for the uaround. Normally I never have my computer in front of me while doing podcasts. For some reason, if I take notes or do anything, I get distracted and confused, so I don't like it. I just like to freelance. But in this case, I kind of want to be specific when explaining what my uaround is. And first I'll tell you what it is, and then I'll tell you what I've kind of gone through and what I'm working on regarding it. So, the uaround gives you the opportunity to send and receive important notifications, reaching out to friends, family members, and colleagues through your phone during a time of need. You can instantly be notified to discuss what you need, what your needs are, where you are, or how you can help. So, if you know anything about me, I love to help people more than anything else. And see, by even having this computer in front of me, I get distracted. And I always, people throughout my life have always talked about, wanting to feed everyone on the planet, or come up with a cure for cancer, hypothetically, or come up with something that could change people's lives for the better. And I'm 100% down with that. But I do think a lot of people talk shit. I was one of them, I think, for the most part. Always saying, yeah, I wish I could do this for the homeless, and I wish we could do this for people that are starving, like I said, or I wish we could do this for people in this situation. I really had a huge change in my life when my daughter got sick, when she had to have a liver transplant, and I spent a substantial amount of time in a child's hospital. Two hospitals, actually, one being Arnold Palmer in Chicago for a few months, the other being Children's Memorial Hospital in Chicago, Illinois, by Lincoln Park. They've moved, actually. They're near Northwestern, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't been to the new hospital, even though my daughter, they do want her to go there. I got to take her there. We forgot to go last time. Anyways, spending night after night in a child's or a children's hospital is one of the, and I hate to say this, being stuck in that hospital with my daughter, it breaks my heart, not only because of all the sick children, right? But I don't want to sound weird, but I was very healthy. And I knew at any time I can walk out of that hospital, and these poor children, a lot of them, couldn't or were never going to again. Or things could have happened in the burn unit where they're never going to look the same after they've been brought in. They're going to leave, but they're going to have a lot of things that are going to hold them back. A lot of them already had all different types of illnesses. You're hearing babies cry all night. I don't want to drag this into this, but it gave me a lot of time to reflect. And one time I was in Children's Hospital, I think in Chicago, for almost 3 months straight. And you become, you meet other parents, you meet other children, and you see children pass away. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And I realized too, I'll just say, for instance, what we went through is sometimes when people get sick, it brings people closer together or it pushes them apart. A lot of times. Sometimes it's in the middle too, actually. Sometimes it goes back and forth. I've seen so many people in there because of just the medical bills, including what we went through. At the time, I had money, so I was even able to my ex-wife spent time in Embassy Suites for months at a time and went back and forth to the hospital. She was pregnant with our other child at the time, and literally she had the child in Chicago, and we were able to bring both babies home the same day. What are the odds, right? But a lot of people went to the Ronald McDonald House, unbelievable organization, but my family had a huge benefit, raised a lot of money. That was amazing. My family all came together. But like I was saying before, a lot of people I saw in the hospital, people having horrible, just relationships, I guess you could say, with one another, married couples, divorced couples, with their children or their child being sick. And the stress, like I said, not only of the child being sick, but also all the financial responsibilities. Also, it's life altering and it's shocking. Your life changes and it's never the same when you have a sick child sometimes. It may in the future, obviously, but at that point in time, you're kind of devastated. And I think a lot of people, I think some people put themselves as feeling sorry for themselves that they have to go through that. I think others feel sorry for the child. I think if you're in a relationship, you feel sorry for your spouse. You have all these. You're also, I think, go through all these emotional things where you're mad. You have a lot of, how would I say it? Like when you're hearing good news in the hospital regarding your child, it's a very good. You go high, and then when you hear bad news, it's a crash. So you have all these emotional up and downs. So, while being in there, I really was trying to analyze how I want to always help children. I literally at one time wanted to just go move into a children's hospital when I was, after I got a divorce. Sounds crazy. And I really just couldn't afford it because I went through a divorce. It was like 2008, 2009 when the economy just took a shit. My father sold his business. I had no job. I didn't know where to go. And I was almost like, they wouldn't allow me to do this, but I'm like, I would like to just, on my off time, just go help kids, stay in a hospital, and if I could find a job for a while just to clear my mind out, and then while I wasn't working, go there and do it. I almost reached out to one of the top guys at Children's, but I said, this guy's going to think I'm crazy. And I just wanted to escape for a while, and I was thinking, why would I want to escape to a place that was probably the most emotional, hardest place for me to go through in my life. Even while there, I lost like 40, 50 pounds. And I kept thinking, why would I, and it's amazing how we also talk about doing a lot of things and we don't do them. I think a lot of us say, hey, I want to help the homeless, or I want to help, and I want to help do this or that. And we all, I think, want to truly help people. And we are always helping people, I think. We don't realize how much we are helping them. But I think on a higher level, I guess you could say, like somebody who donates a lot of time to things with nothing in return, right? Not expecting any money or anything. We talk about doing a lot of things and we don't, because the reality is we just don't have time, I think. We have good hearts, but we just don't. But after that situation I didn't end up doing that. I ended up going to Georgia for like a month, and then I went to go help my cousin in California. He lives in San Diego. And it was quite the opposite. Instead of me being grounded, because I was always somebody who was kind of not really interested in traveling anymore. I traveled in my youth, substantial amount, that I wanted to. I kind of went everywhere I wanted to go. I thought I did, with the exception of maybe Italy. But I ended up traveling for the next 10 years, let's just say. And my cousin's really into technology, and he would be talking to me about different apps, and I really didn't know. I mean, I had an Apple phone, but I wasn't like really, of course there were apps and they'd help you, but not at the level they're at now. So my cousin was always saying, hey, we should create an app about this or that, and we were coming up with funny ones too, like My Toilet. This is a long time ago. Like if there's a clean toilet, people put on where they go to the toilet, and they rate it 1 through 5. We were also coming up with apps like You Pick It, kind of where a guy or a girl go, you could put your clothes on an app, you could cut your head off and you're putting clothes on, and people could respond and say, does it look good, does it not? All these different types of apps. I had a list of hundreds of them, still do. But in the back of my head, I kept saying, he did an unbelievable one. I don't even know if I can't even say it, but it still would be amazing. But I had one, and I kept saying, how can I come up with an app to help people? I don't know how to do this. And it took me a really long time to figure it out. Because a lot of times when you're making an app, I think a lot of it is based around maybe you possibly making money off it. Right? Or having different outlets where it can make money. Or, different streams on how to make money. But when I came up with my app, I think my mother came up with the name, but I kept saying there's got to be a way where we can all help one another. And the thing is, when a lot of people need help, I just kind of put myself in a position of needing help. Let me put it that way. I don't care if I was a teenager I don't care if I was middle-aged. I don't care if I was an elder. What I think happens a lot of times when we need help is we're embarrassed. We don't. We'd rather suffer sometimes than ask for help because of the embarrassment. And until times hit really hard, that's a lot of times, when people are backed against the wall, they will finally say, man, I need help. I am demolished. A lot of times. Not always. Some people are always asking for help. But I'm saying a lot of people, or I think a majority of the people, are embarrassed to ask for help. And it could be as simple as getting a ride to the airport. It could be as simple as you being out of bread and say your leg's broke and you can't get to a grocery store, or something happened, you pulled your back out. And it could be as extreme as somebody needing to pick up your meds for you because you don't feel good, right? It could be you needing a ride to the doctors, not 911, but you need, have to go to the doctors. The list goes on and on and on. You also could need possessions that you can't afford. Even something as small as, say, a charger for your cell phone. And, a lot of us, I realize, because I love to give all my shit away. I'm not a hoarder. I'm actually quite the opposite. I found myself, when I had some wealth, constantly buying all these expensive things out of insecurity, I think. And buying the big home, buying all this furniture, having to have so many cars, and just overspending on every aspect of my lifestyle. But after, I had to move back and forth to Chicago, but after going through what I went through with my first daughter, I had a relief, get rid of a lot of possessions, sell them, including all my Rolexes and different things. And the less I had, the freer I felt. That was just me. That doesn't mean I don't want anything, but I really did, and I still think I'm a minimalist, if that's the word. I think it is, if I said that correctly. But again, I realized when I would have all these possessions a lot of times, and I'd be moving, I moved a bunch of times because of my daughter. And because I'd be going back and forth, we'd go to Chicago, she didn't feel good, because I don't know if it was the weather, she'd be getting sick, so we'd move to Florida, she felt great, but her doctors were in Chicago, so we'd have some situations, we'd have to go back and forth. Every time I'd buy a lot of furniture, I would do different things, I would leave things to my family members and give them whatever they needed. And a lot of my family members needed things, including furniture and stuff, and they were so grateful. I only sold some stuff to my ex-wife's wealthy friends. But for the most part, I don't care if it was dishes, silverware, tons of different things. I even had a professional steamer that $500, I gave that to my aunt. I'm just using for an example. And people really appreciated that stuff. And I still go to their house, and you're talking 15 years ago. I still go to a lot of family members' houses. I'll see paintings on the wall I gave them. I'll see a couch. I'll see a coffee table. Lamps. I'll go to eat. They're like, Rich, these are the dishes you gave us. We have these here that you gave us. You gave us this fryer. Me and my ex-wife just loved giving. And a lot of times you don't realize how much people need that they lack. Now, I'm not saying a lot of people deserve everything, but I do think there are so many incredible people out there just were not able to afford to get some of the things that they truly need that would change their life. Again, it could be just a lamp, an extra lamp in a bedroom so my aunt and uncle can read at night. I'm just using, something like that. And when I was between all those things with the app, thinking about all these things, because when I had hard times, I literally went to my cousins. And he got, both of my cousins have been incredible to me, the two of my cousins that I grew up with. But, a lot of people may not have that type of family relations with other people to be able to go do those certain type of things. And then it seems like when people go up, they kind of forget about a lot of people. They get, they start to make more money, or they're doing things, they're too busy. And then when they go down, they have all these emotions where they feel like a piece of shit, and then they don't want to ask for help. Then they start making a comeback. It's kind of this swing emotionally, I think. And this time I said, I don't want to swing. I just want to be set to where I truly do want to help people. And the only way I think I could be able to reach the amount of people I wanted to reach was through an app. Truthfully. And I said, the app that I want to create is to, help people in a time of need, but take out the embarrassment side of things. Because I think when, again, you need something, you will sometimes reach out to, say, 2 or 3 people. And if you get stiffed, then you kind of shut it down, right? Because I think a lot of people don't reach out to help either, or they wouldn't want to be bothered. Because let's face it, society and now a lot of times they'd rather not be bothered than bothered. But now I think with this actual coronavirus, it's actually bringing a lot of people together. I talked about that on a previous podcast. Is it pulling us apart or bringing us together? I think it's pulling us together as a race. Absolutely, even though they're telling us to keep, social distancing. But that's just my opinion. But I came up with a concept where the uaround, where you can text multiple people in something that you need, and say I text 10 people, right? All 10 people get to text, but then when nobody sees who else I'm texting, and then when they reply, nobody else sees who's replying. I didn't see that on an app or Facebook Messenger or on the phone, my iPhone, or I had a Samsung too. Anytime you text people, or a mass text or a string text, everybody sees your business. Not only that, it aggravates everybody, because say you need something. Say I text 10 people and said, hey, I need whatever. 10 people may respond, okay, I can help you. I can only do it at this time. Or you need this, I could get it, but I'm not sure yet. Or I'll look into it. All of a sudden you have all these other people getting involved with conversations that you don't want them to get involved with, most likely a lot of times, especially if you're in a time of need of something. So basically it was a string text that was private, I guess you could say, but I wanted you to be able to do this on the app. And I have my grandmother who's older that's sick, and my mother went through breast cancer, and my grandmother, I had a lot of problems with my other grandmother who had a stroke and died. She insisted on living alone. And I thought, especially, I really looked at this in two ways, my app. One was I was watching these, these Datelines, these Nightlines, these 2020s. I got off of for a while, and then I jumped back on them. I do like those shows. And let me get some water here. And I see these college students, mainly, some high school, but mainly college, and even, young girls in the city that need, they need something. They can't afford it. They jump in cars with dudes they shouldn't be jumping in, or they're at a bar, they get smashed. They don't have enough money for Uber, Lyft, or a cab. Walking through the campuses alone, somebody jumps out and does something. Now, that's going to happen in society. I mean, that's almost impossible to control. But I wanted to create something for them, because I have two daughters that are actually in college. And this was before college. This is when they were just starting high school, when I was really thinking about the app and creating it. I kind of was nervous about that. And I said, could there be an app where they could reach out? So if they're at a bar by themselves, or I don't care if they're at work, I don't care if they're at the library, wherever they're at, and say it's nighttime and they don't want to drive home, and again, they may or may not even have money, and I'm all about walking and getting in shape. Believe me, that's not what this is about, making people lazier. This is about actually, when you're not feeling safe, being able to reach out to a bunch of friends. Not just one or two, because you could do that separately. I'm talking about, say you got in college, I don't care if you're in a sorority, frat, whatever the case may be. You can reach out, 10, 20 people, possibly, and say, hey, I'm here, I need a ride there. Okay? Or, on the flip side of things, say you're in college and you're in your dorm or whatever, and something again happens where it could be as simple again as, hurting yourself and nobody's around. What do? You don't want to call 911 necessarily, but you need a ride to the doctor or something like that. You can immediately text, a mass amount of people, and hopefully out of all those people, somebody will be available. And I also thought about this for the elderly, especially, because I think a lot of our grandparents, even though a lot of them don't know how to use an app, but I think if you're going to teach them how to use an app, this is the way to go. But I think a lot of elderly are very stubborn, especially if they live alone or if they're both old. They don't always want to ask for help when they need it. It could be as simple as them texting you and saying, I need this moved. I need this picture taken off. I need this carpet moved. I need this installed. Again, when they think of certain things, like it could be even painting their house. They could be like, oh, I can't afford to paint the house, but I don't want to ask my son or my daughter to ask whoever, blah, blah, blah. You could send out a mass text to all your whoever and say, listen, I need my house painted. I can only afford this, or I can't afford much. Could someone help me? Or do you have paint? right? All these type of things, especially with the elderly, with medicines and things, I thought this was the perfect way to go. Because again, if you need help, you're only also reaching out to people that you know, not strangers. You're not on Craigslist, right? You're not a part of some organization. Nothing against them. Like I heard there's an organization for mothers, I think it's in California, where they all help one another. That is wonderful. The thing is, a lot of them are strangers. I don't know, especially with elderly or certain people. And again, that doesn't mean they're incredible, probably, most of them, but you never know if there's one or two that aren't. They have ulterior motives where they want to do something else. They look like they're helping you and they're not. When it comes to the you around, these are specific people that are there to help you, right? The other thing I had on the flip side of it, after I was kind of looking at this, was being able to know, if you want, where people are at all times, if they wanted to. So say again, elderly or college, I'll just use them, because families too. Even if you're a family, say you're driving your kids to school, your car breaks down. I'll just use this for an example. And your husband or wife are at work, and you have nobody to get. You're stuck there with your car with your kids. What are you going to do? With the you around, you could go in and say you have 5, 6 girlfriends or friends that are, or guys or whoever go to your kid's school. You or whoever, family members, whoever, you could string text 10, 15 of them, hit them up, say, I'm stuck on this road. I need to get my daughter, son, or kids to school. Can one of you come and pick them up? Because a lot of times the one or two you think of that may be able to help may be busy themselves at work. But out of 10 or 15, maybe somebody's off of work. Someone's nearby. So that's where I came up with the idea, truthfully, to say, hey, if you go on the app, you can kind of also see where everybody's at, as long as they're willing to let you know where they're at. If they don't want to, they don't have to. But if they, there's a setting on there where, hey, you can look and go, oh my goodness, my friend over here, they're 2 blocks from me at Publix. Maybe they'll help me and pick up my kids and take them to school. So you don't have to hit up everybody randomly, not knowing where anybody's at, which you could still do, which I'd recommend actually, because it never hurts. But also, so now even in college, like I said, you turn on your app, say you're stuck at a bar and you had a couple of drinks and your girlfriend went, or you and your buddies, I don't care who it is, but you're stuck there alone, a woman especially, and a guy's looking at him, or there's a couple guys, and she was with a girlfriend, she took off with her boyfriend, and whatever the case may be, you just find, or you could be even be in an apartment or a dorm room, you don't feel safe now, you want to get out of there, you need a ride. You just ended up in a bad place, or you just stay too late, whatever the case may be. Again, you can go on your app and look to see where everybody's at, possibly someone near you to help you. And again, these are only people that you 100% trust. You connect with them, kind of like Facebook. So the other thing I want to do too regarding the app is donations. Kind of back to what I was saying before, when me and my ex-wife loved to give everybody everything. But a lot of people have a lot of things they don't need that other people, I'm sure, would love to have. Even if they're moving, for instance, and a lot of times you don't want to pay for movers, right? It's expensive. Or you just want to get rid of, say you have a new dining room table coming and you want to get rid of your old one, and you may not even have the strength or the people to move it for you. You can go on the app to all your friends, again, shoot a text with, and say, hey, I have a dining room table. It's wooden. It's this and that. Anybody wants it. Whoever wants it first, come and get it, right? It could be as simple as saying, hey, I have extra cords for a Mac, or I have old cords for an old iPhone. Does anybody want them before I throw them away? I have dishes that I don't want. I have all these different things, that you, instead of wanting to throw out or even donate, say to Goodwill or anywhere, you can actually donate it to people that you know. The thing about needing help, or, not only needing help, but people needing things, is you don't know who needs what. Because again, a lot of times there's embarrassment. So I started creating this app. I outlined it, designed it. I went with a guy out of Canada. I went back and forth on LinkedIn. I went back and forth on different websites that would help create apps. So I went with a guy out of Canada. To make a long story short, he burned me. He stole the app, or he actually tried stealing the app and then selling it to someone in Germany. So that was a big fiasco. I'm not going to go into that. That was very, very aggravating. And then I ended up going with someone else through my webmaster, who's really cool, young guy, tried his hardest for a long time. It was taking too long. And it was also taking more money that I really wanted to spend, especially after the first hit. If I didn't get hit on the first one and lose a lot of money, the second one wouldn't be as bad. So like a year and a half ago, I came very close to finishing it. And I just got very, very busy. And I was kind of exhausted. I was also creating, because I do sometimes too much, I was creating a mastering self-confidence program as well, based off of my book. So it was kind of like I was doing two things at once again. Because when I was creating the app, there was so much downtime at times. Like you're like, okay, we finished this, let's do this. Okay, let's do this, and then it would take so much time to program it, I guess you could say. And I had downtime, so I started working on the other thing as well, which started to cost money as well. And before you know it, I was just exhausted too. I was traveling a ton, doing both of them. But I realized with the UAround, I just need somebody who could kick this into the next gear. And it's really not about money. I'm not caught up in that. I just want to help people. And I think right now, during the coronavirus or whatever, this would have been the perfect time. Because I think a lot of people, especially losing jobs, you know, some people, you may have extra groceries that you don't want. Again, you can text whoever you want to text to see if they want them. Or if people need certain things, again, you're just there to help one another. And nobody has to know your business. And that's the one thing I loved about the UAround is I made it, even though it reaches out to the masses, you're reaching out to everybody, but you're reaching out to them individually, and you can do it quick, right? That's the one thing I loved about it more than anything. So actually, I didn't look at my computer the whole time. Let me see if there's anything I missed on my uaround app here. So I already the website. I have the website up, and I had the app. But if you go through here, I kind of go through everything as far as, how many useful features it has. Unit can help you with the following. You donate. I call it donate when you want to donate things, and how easy it really is to use. I've really worked so hard on making this simple where anyone can use it. And I don't want people to think, though, this is kind of, and you could use it any way you want. But the one thing, I hear about all the time is using it as a pickup type thing. Like you could reach out to 15 different people that that you are interested in, hit them up and say, hey, want to come over for dinner? Or hey, which you can do whatever you want to do. I get it. Like say you even want to go to a movie and nobody wants to go to the movie or with you, to your close friends or whoever. And then you go on there and then you hit up, 15 people to say, hey, does anybody want to go to the movies tonight? I get you can use it for that. God bless you. That wasn't the intention. But like I said, do whatever you want to do with it. But I definitely used it for the premise of helping people, not making it a pickup app. So I want to make sure that that's, but like I said, you can kind of do it that way if you wanted to. What else do I have here regarding this app? But I kind of explain it the best out of my vision. And I'm trying to find somebody, if you know anybody or whatever, hit me up. I'd like to go with a company that could really kick this in the ass as quickly as possible. Because I think it'd be an amazing tool. So, what else do I got? I got a YouTube page. If you want to check that out, I've been doing a lot of things fitness related. I'm on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And, thanks for listening to that one. It may have gotten long, but I just want to be very specific on what I was working on, and it's probably going on 5 years, and like I said, I've become very close to finishing it. Well, one time I was basically finishing it, and then it got stolen, and then I had to go through a whole process with that legally, and then I started over again, and when I started over again, actually, we made a bunch of tweaks and improvements, because it's kind of like if you create a car or create anything the first time and then you get to start over, you already have a lot of different ideas that you would like to incorporate. I also think my second go around, I started to incorporate too much, which was first it was just needing something in a time of need. I added the you donate, which I love, and then I also added the map, where you know where somebody's at all times, because I thought that would be a huge tool, as long as the person was willing to, let you know where they were at. But I loved both of those type of things, so that took a lot more time. And then we just designed just designing an app and making it simpler and simpler and simplifying it, because I don't think a lot of people realize when you go on an app, you just, to you may look and say, oh, you just click this, it's there. It took a lot of time to kind of cut out all the bullshit to make it very specific and simple. At the beginning, it wasn't as simple, especially when you want to text all these people, and I still haven't seen this. My lawyers wanted to actually make the copyright or trademark being able to mass text people kind of without anybody seeing it, because I've never seen that, and they haven't either. Maybe it's out now, but I haven't seen it on an app. But that was the other thing that took us a long time to kind of figure out. And again, I was only working with two different app developers, so it'd be different if I had a team at Apple, hypothetically, or Google, or wherever. But I think it's the outline's there. I have the formula. I have everything set up, and if somebody wants to just kind of take the ball and run with it, I'd love to partner up with them. So if you know anyone, let me know. All right, take care, and I wish you nothing but the best.